Autism, well, there's lots of different ways in which it affects people. It's just such a wide-ranging thing, and there are no two people with autism the same. As someone said to me once you've met someone with autism, you've met someone with autism.
The way I see autism is it's just a name for a different way that brains are wired. So if you look at the whole of the human population, I would say about 80% of people have what's called a neurotypical brain, which means that it works in the sort of general typical way. Then about 20% of people have a brain that's wired a bit differently. So that's autism, ADHD, dyslexia, dyspraxia, and other conditions like that. While there's different types of brain wirings, each one has its own positives and negatives. Just as being neurotypical has its own negatives, autism has its own negatives and positives as well.
There's a dichotomy between people who prefer to be referred to as an autistic person and those who prefer to be referred to as a person with autism.
I personally prefer being called an autistic person rather than a person with autism. The reason for that is, when I speak to people who say they prefer a person with autism, they say you need to remember that people are people first. And while people have the best intentions when they say this, it sounds like they're saying, oh, it's fantastic that you're a human being, but you've also got this negative thing that you're stuck with called autism, which for me, autism, like I said, is the name for the way your brain is wired, and you're stuck with it whether you like it or not. It plays a role in absolutely everything you do and every decision you make.
There are other labels as well which are kind of, I find, unhelpful. To try and explain yourself to the other person, whoever that other person is, if they've got no experience or understanding of autism, you've got to start from somewhere, haven't you? The high functioning label. But then that gives the other person the understanding that that person is a much better than everybody else at lots and lots of things. And whilst that might be true for some people, that doesn't mean we're good at everything, and actually we can be really low functioning in some areas.
And well, again, the support needs are very variable. Well, it depends on you've really got to get to know the person, find out what his or her support needs are, and go from that. And if you're still in doubt, then if the person has a support worker or family member with them, then there is no harm in checking in that with them. But one thing, and this is my top tip, is never assume that someone with autism cannot do this or cannot do or can do that. Never ever assume.
Stop seeing the diagnosis first. Find out about the person you're dealing with. We're all different. Treat us as people, not labels.